Hey there YouTube, petey twofinger here with watch out, it'll get ya. I had been doing some Goodwill shopping and I got this jack here. It's a 1/4 inch jack and it has terminates in alligator clips. So it's like basically like 1/4 inch jack, and then it's got these black and red wires with these clips. So I was testing some speakers and I have this First Act amp that I got from Goodwill that I paid like $2, maybe $3 for, and I put my own external speaker jack in that. So today I was testing this speaker and I hooked it up with these probes here, these clips, and then plugged this jack into the back of it, and I'm not getting anything. So I'm like, what the heck, you know? And I'm thinking, well, you know what? I installed that external speaker jack, so maybe I didn't wire it properly, or maybe it broke off in there or something. So I went and got another amplifier which has a front panel external speaker jack. It's a crate amp, and I know that that one works. So same thing, I hook it up and I'm not getting anything. Actually, the internal speaker was still working. So then my wife says, oh look, those wires look like they're a little burned. And sure enough, they are. And then I unplug the cable and I take a closer look. Look at this. It will get you. Look at this, folks. Can you believe it? This jack is like almost a 1/2 inch short. This is made to test the ring, because on a stereo plug you will have tip, ring, sleeve. So this makes contact with sleeve and ring, no tip. And I have never seen this jack, but I ran into it today. I cut it off. It's going in my parts bin. It's just, I don't know. I guess if I had somebody that I wanted to like mess with, I could employ this jack. I mean, can you believe that? It'll get you. So anyway, I've been doing an incredible amount of Goodwill shopping. The rest of this video is just going to be me shooting my mouth off. I know I got the air conditioner on. Let me shut that off so you can hear this. Got this thing that today. So yeah, and then also I'm going to stand up and adjust the. I'm going to shine the light that this thing does, because it makes this pattern that's kind of might be worth seeing. Yeah, you can't see it with all the other external light that I have on. Let's see. I'll try changing the. It's green. And it like makes this pattern that kind of moves, almost looks like it's underwater. Now it's blue and purple, and then here it's just straight blue, so it'll, yeah, this is not really the best demo with all the light that I've got on here. So anyway, I had a really wild week. It was my birthday, and somebody came knocking on the door. I had gotten a $25 gift certificate, and I was going to hit a bunch of Goodwill stores because they give you a discount for your birthday. So, and it's only one day. So you use that one day, you try to hit as many Goodwill stores as you can using that discount. And I had this gift certificate, you know, a gift card, a good amount of money, like $25. So my wife's making me breakfast. Somebody knocks on the door. I'm like, who is this? It's the neighbor, and the heat's not working in her unit. So I'm like, I'm about to eat my breakfast and leave, but I'll be cool to you and take care of this. And she started laying into me about how it's bullshit, how they didn't have anybody come out and teach her how to use her digital thermostat, and they should have a guy to come out, and it shouldn't be me, and it's bullshit. And I said, well, I can leave if you want, you know. I mean, like, I was about to eat bacon and eggs and go shopping, and now I'm going to have to go in the boiler room and troubleshoot your heating, and you're laying into me on how this is bullshit. Like, all you had to do was come down and knock, and you instantly, I'm here. because I don't think she thought I could fix it. But within 5 minutes, I replaced the Takeo power head. And thank goodness we had the old replacements, the old green ones that are so old. We had 4 of those. I've installed 3 of those out of the 4. The gold ones are all going bad. So I called the landlord to let him know. I'm like, look, you know, we don't have any more. I've used all, because the one green one was bad. And he came over. He's like, what do I owe you? And I said, well, it isn't really that much work, you know, 20. I don't know. What do you think? So he gives me a 20. He gives me another 20. And then he's like, here, have this. And he gives me another 10. So that was $50. And I was just thrilled. So I'm like, let's get a pizza. So we go through the coupon book. We're looking on the internet trying to get a deal. I call the place. I'm like, it says here you got 50% off. And he's like, we don't do that anymore. I said, well, it said on the other thing there's a coupon. He goes, yeah, you can use that coupon. So I said, all right, give me that. Give me a cheese and sausage, 18-inch, and we'll be there to pick it up. I'm like, what's your name? He's like, Jarvano or whatever. So we drive over there, and he's like, what did you order? And I'm like, cheese and sausage. He's like, what's your number? And I'm like, it's my number. And he's like, oh, my God. I don't know what I was thinking, but I just made you a cheese pizza, so I'm going to have to make a sausage, and I'll give you the cheese. So we walked down to the bar, didn't buy anything, just walked around in the bar. It's a huge, like, sports bar with pool tables and everything, so it wasn't, like, weird walking around. And they didn't have any drink specials. If it would have been, I'm not going to pay $4 or $5 for a bottle of beer or whatever they're charging for a draft. But the specials were like $3.50 or something, so I'm like, pfft. So, yeah, we walked back there. It was like, he charged me for the cheese pizza. So it was like $14.80 for 2 18-inch pizzas. So I ate pizza all week. And then today I was bringing back the Goodwill stuff that I bought. And I didn't want anymore after I already stripped all the good parts out of it. And I was hitting all these Goodwills. And I was like way south. And I had passed it. And came back, and I got the, what do you call that, Garmin, whatever road pilot thing is. And it's got me driving around the subdivision, and I'm like, man, I know I passed this thing twice. I was all pissed off. I'm like, where are you sending me, you know? So I come back, I, like, cut this guy off. I'm like, I know it's over here. I sweep across all these lanes of traffic. And I'm like, here it is. It's behind the gas station. I'm here, you know. I can calm down. It's like my 3rd Goodwill of the day. And I'm trying to get all this done and get back to pick up my wife because I've got the car. It started out with me getting my teeth cleaned, a deep cleaning. So, like, you know, normally I'm home, she's got the car. This time she came home to pick me up to do this dental thing, and then I dropped her off at work with this bloody mouth and started hitting Goodwills. And I had to get back to her by 5:30. So I pull into this place, and I'm kind of riled up. I'm all sweaty. It's kind of cold, but it's real humid. And if you run the air, you kind of get cold. If you run the heat, you kind of sweat. It's just an awful day. It's all cloudy. I see this stoner-looking kid walking in, gets in his car while I'm pulling up. And I'm like, go ahead, I want your spot. You know, he's got the best spot. And he's like, go. And I'm like, no, I'm not going. Like, I want your spot. I put my clicker on. I'm like, come on, dude. So he gets pissed, and he finally pulls out. I pull in. I get out of the car. There's 4 $20 bills on the ground. So he was already gone. I pocketed the money. He didn't come back. I'm not sure if it was his money. I'm pretty sure it was because he probably would have seen it. And any minute late, like I was saying, it was really weird on the way there. I was going, and I'm like, I know it's in here. But the Garmin didn't say anything. And I kept going, and I kept going. The Garmin's not saying anything. So finally I picked the thing up, and it's off. And then I look, and the plug was unplugged. And I don't remember unplugging it. I had it on the whole time because I didn't know how to get from this Goodwill that I was at to this other one I was going to. I had made like a rash decision because I had a plan. I was going to go boop, and then go whoop way up north, and then come back down to meet my wife. Well, I had went down here and then went down another south, and I'm thinking, well, instead of going way back north, I'm going to hit this other south one and then come back up. So between point B and point C was where I got lost when that thing unplugged itself completely like a ghost, like literally unplugged the power supply. for the Balkan or the I forget what that thing's called, the Garmin, and that's what enabled me to get lost, turn around. You know, I passed it, then I plugged it back in. It was telling me turn around. I turned around, then it sent me into that subdivision. I drove around in there, and then I came out and cut across those lanes of traffic, and then found it and went in, and that's when I found that money. And if I would have been a minute early or a minute late, somebody else would have got that money. Because of where it was right in the front. So it was really weird. I had a great week. It started off with that, like, kind of, I was a little bit pissed because that lady was giving me a hard time and they had to fix her heat when I was out my door, and then I got a little steam because I got turned around, and life kept showing me, like, you know, maybe don't get upset when this stuff pops up, because you never know what the greater plan has in store for you. And it might work out that you end up really blessed and then feel like a fool if you got huffy and puffy because you had to wait a couple minutes in order to receive that blessing. So that was the weird thing that happened to me today. I got these speakers here. This was 99 cents. This was $1.99. This is real heavy. It's 120 watt. I know it's like, oh, that's just a center channel. But this is a really nice one. It's got a giant tweeter and a huge subwoofer in it. Look at the woofer thing. So, you know, what we've been doing, I got this M Audio. It's a monitor speaker. It's a BX5. And that had a power switch for Europe or America. It's like a red switch that's indented, and you're not supposed to set it. It's either your AC system is 120 or it's 220. Well, that switch had been moved in the middle, so the guy got rid of it, and somehow it got switched. And I was taking it apart in the Goodwill to see if it was a Salvation Army, see if it had an internal fuse that was blown that I could replace. And I had 9 of the 10 screws or something like that removed, and I finally noticed that switch was off. So I just bumped that switch over with my little, I have like a key ring, like a Swiss Army knife that has a Phillips on it that I use. And I've got a regular Phillips bit that's got a hole, like, it's like a key ring Phillips. So I've got 2 of those tools. Well, yeah, I popped that switch over and the power came on. So we've been using I've got a Zoom G1ON, and that's the $49 little Zoom. And then my wife has a B1. She has a B2 as well, and I have a G3. But these are the ones that we leave stationary. So I got a little mono mixer. It's a Fostex line mixer. It's got 4 channels. It's like runs off a 9-volt. It's like a real old, kind of a junky little mixer. So I ran some RCA cables over there, and I got a little MP3 player that I built with some switches on it and a remote. And then we use the drum loops. So yeah, the output of that mixer, you know, I got my guitar with the amp and cable cabinet Sims, and then my wife has her bass, and then the MP3, so we're able to practice instead of running like a full mixing board and all of that mucky muck with the computers running, you know, Amplitude and all that, you know. So we have a much smaller rig because we got that main rig for the whole family band, and everyone runs nice sets of headphones, but that's kind of a hassle. You got to turn all the stuff on you're wearing headphones. This has just one master volume on the monitor, and then, you know, you can adjust everything with this little mini mixer, so you can keep the volumes low and play in the apartment without really bothering the neighbors. It's really reasonably quiet. So that has enabled us to practice more often because it's not really a big deal. You just grab the guitars and plug in. I got everything hooked up on a couple of simple click switches, all the power supplies, and it just seems real simple to get it going. So with that train of thought, I was thinking, you know, I mean, I'm not getting any younger. I just celebrated my 51st birthday, of putting together a similar type system that would be portable, to have just a couple of smaller speakers. Because when we play, we make music outdoors, we use a 210 cab with 2 10s in it, and then a 12, and then another 12 with a horn, like a monitor type speaker, a big wedge monitor. So dragging all that around is kind of heavy, and you're using separate amps for everything, so it's more power consumption. So with this idea, it's going to be, this is a subwoofer that I paid $5 for. It's kind of a nice sub. Remove the amp, just using the real nice bass speaker that's in there. It's a dual voice coil, so it's a stereo speaker, kind of, in a sense. So, you know, we'll have this as for maybe the bass guitar, and then this on top of that playing the loops, and then something else like maybe like this. Maybe you'll build that in or have them plug in with a 1/4-inch jack. But I've got enough room inside this enclosure to put a small mixer. I've got a few mixers that come off of projector converters if you have a slide machine or Super 8. And you can, it's a box with a mirror in it and some lenses, so you shine your Super 8 onto this little screen, and then have a digital camera that hooks up to it. And then they have an audio mixer, so if you want to do a voiceover, if you had original soundtrack music on your camera, you can pipe that over. So they give you like, it's like a 4 or 8 channel, little 6 channel mixer. There's like external, auxiliary, sound effects, music. They have little bands labeled. So it basically runs off of like 9 or 12 volts DC, and I've used those before for the band. They work fine. I mean, it may not be, you know, Rupert Neve didn't design it, but when you're playing outdoors and you're running everything off of batteries, I'm welcome to not have to build my own mixer. You know, it's just a summing mixer. There's no treble, there's no pan. If they're mono, it's just something I'll get these when I see them. They're $5 to $8, $10. Usually there's like $6.99, and then I'll remove that panel that has the audio, and then you just cut whatever hole and mount that in, and then we'll run everything together. And you can, you know, use them like before we were running my bass, my wife's bass, and the drum machine. We're sharing a set of cabinets that had the 210, the GK Neo 210 on one side, and then like a EV or an Eminence 12-inch bass speaker with a tweeter with a crossover, and then 250 watt amps. So yeah, I'm really getting into detail about that setup. This new setup is going to be a lot smaller, so I have to do experiments of like figuring out how the bass is going to work with this. What we're going to use, a cork Pandora or something, probably for the bass, and then using the G10N. So it'll be something. Now, originally I thought of everything in one box would be really cool. The cabinet that I got that was bigger is kind of cheesy. Its particle board's kind of falling apart. I'm gluing that back together. So I think I'm just going to go with this for the bass, and then have it modular. You know, I'll put most of the controls, the batteries, and the amps will sit inside here, all the controls. And then this might be, plop that down and pop it in with a 1/4-inch jack. And then maybe another one. So you'll just add the 2 speakers, depending on how this all sounds. I may be able to get away with just using just these 2. The 2-channel mixer to have a 50 by 50 or whatever Class D amp board. One side would just be dedicated for the bass and this sub, the bass guitar on this sub, and then the other side would be the MP3 player playing the drum loops on this speaker, and have a 2-channel mono mixer on that other right channel, we'll say, and have that be the guitar blending in with the MP3, and share that on here. So it's just going to be a matter of testing all that stuff out, seeing what sounds decent, and then keeping it simple, because that's the thing, that this idea is something we could sit down on the patio and not like overkill, having too many speakers and cabinets, and keeping it small and lightweight. So that's what I'm going to be working on. Thank you for joining me. Sorry if it was so rambly and long and in detail. I just can't help myself when I start talking about this stuff. I hope you kind of got the gist of it. And like I said, I know it's going to work, because right now we are doing this same thing using a single mono speaker. Now, it's a very good speaker. It's the M Audio BX5 powered speaker. It's a monitor, and it sounds fantastic. It sounds great at low volumes. So that's what I'm hoping to reproduce here, is enough bass of the bass guitar sound decent. You know, obviously it's not going to be thumping. It's not going to shake the earth, but should be good. And there'll be an update on that when I get it finished. So stay tuned.